I'm Jim with Pour the Juice, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to title this video. Maybe something along the lines of how to start drinking high proof whiskey, um, or how to drink whiskey like a man, um, how to drink whiskey neat. I'm not sure, but those are all things I was very concerned with when I first started drinking whiskey. I remember having the idea in my head growing up that the guy who walked around at a bar with a rocks glass with no ice in it, a couple fingers of whiskey, drinking it straight was the coolest guy on TV. And I remember talking to my father about it and letting him know I want to be that guy one day. I want to be the guy whose drink of choice isn't a beer, isn't a glass of wine or a martini, although James Bond was pretty cool. I wanted to be the guy that would just take some whiskey. This probably should be a rocks glass. Take a sniff and take a drink. And that's what he preferred. That's what I wanted to be. Now, I think most of the people that are going to watch this video probably already are those people. They're that guy already. They enjoy a neat bourbon. They probably all also enjoy a high proof neat bourbon. But if there's anybody else out there that was like me and wasn't too sure how to become that person, maybe this can help you out a little bit. I'm just going to give my recommendations on how I eventually evolved to a person that enjoys high proof whiskeys poured neat. And hopefully it helps you out. Hopefully it works for you. Um, and I do thoroughly enjoy them now. They're my favorite whiskeys to have as a higher proof whiskey. I guess once you go into that realm, you can't go back. Um, so my first tip is going to be start out with a low proof whiskey like Buffalo Trace here. It doesn't have to be Buffalo Trace. My whiskey of choice when I was a younger man was Black Label Jack Daniels. I love Jack Daniels. And I started out drinking Jack on the rocks. That was my go to drink. I think Black Label Jack is like 80 proof. This is 90. It's a little bit of a step up. I would start doing the same thing. I would start, instead of mixing it with Coke or something else, I would start out with something like a Buffalo Trace or whatever else you can get your hands um, on the rocks. And then eventually I would take away some of the ice that you're drinking it with, less and less ice, until you get to a point where you're comfortable having a glass of whiskey with no ice, even if it's a 90 proof whiskey. And then once you're comfortable doing that with the 90 proof whiskey, you should step that up a little bit, just a little. Here we have a 114 proof whiskey, Penelope pick. In this one, if you start out with this, you just pour it in a glass and you drink it, it will light you up, even at 114 proof. So I do suggest taking these steps, unless somebody else has a different suggestion. If you do, please comment it below. Also, if you're enjoying this video, please like, please subscribe. I do appreciate it. Yeah, let's step up. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be this. It could be anything. If you like Jack, start out with Jack Black Label. Move up to the 100 proof Jack Daniels. And then once you get to this point, if you're going with Jack Daniels, then you can just move on to Jack Daniels single barrel proofs, which these still light me up from time to time. This one is 133.3 proof, and it is liquid fire, but it is so delicious. This is my favorite bottle of Jack Daniels Barrel Proof I've ever had in my life, and I'm cherishing it. Still have a bunch left. Still have a backup too. But if you could drink this neat, then you can drink any whiskey neat. I promise you. There's not going to be anything else that can light you up. But yeah, so that's how I would approach it today. If I could go back and tell myself a better way of doing things, other than just drinking Jack Daniels on the rocks for years. Um, you got to progress. You got to go through the pain a little bit. It's gonna burn. You'll get past it. Still burns a little bit, but you get used to it. Enjoy the ride. Hope you enjoy it. Cheers.